Hello and welcome, DCL fans, Sun and Moon draft fans in general. We're here, we're reviewing ipro today, because that's what we voted on in the previous stream. So yeah, let's give people a few minutes to get into the stream. In that time, we're going to go over these drafts on Band Chasers, which is the team that ipro was on. Obviously, ipro probably helped with these drafts quite a bit. Yeah, let me just go ahead and link the stream to a bunch of places and then we can get started. Right there. Going over Feraligatr and more of ipro's run on stream right now, allegedly. Only one way to find out. Boom. Then I'll post it in Owen's Discord. Plug. Yep, there we go. That's good enough for me, I think. Put it in the Armory server as well, just so people can hop on in. Alright, so let's go ahead and look at these drafts, right? Now you see the thumbnail, you know what we're about. It's Feraligatr time. Now Feraligatr, if you're not aware, especially in like tournament formats, has seen a massive decrease in price over the years. Basically, no one's ever really drafted it for higher prices, so it keeps dropping. And now it's all the way down at 4 points. And that leads to teams that look like this, right? A really solid top 6, and then you're able to fit a Feraligatr plus a 1-pointer. Now this is the kind of team that's actually really scary to face. You know what I mean? You have Zygarde Kartana, obviously some great Pokemon. Zygarde able to like really excel against like offensive teams, especially. And then Kartana is like more so gonna smash through defensive teams, like Balance. You're not running Balance against Kartana very easily. You know what I mean? Especially Nidoking as well. Like two really great Balance Crushers, and then Taunt Fini as well, another great Mon versus like Vatter styles. So Zygarde really gets to shine because these other picks really do kind of force a more offensive build from your opponent. And if that's going to be the case, then Zygarde is going to outspeed those offensive teams, and it's going to do a lot of damage. Alright, Mega Pidgeot is like pretty standard as like your mid-tier Mega if like you want other high tiers. So very cool. Very obviously you didn't like my name. Unlucky, man. Like Aster suggested this name for the stream, and you know, I can't go against Aster. Alright, there's a Bronzong, one that I'm not too fond of, honestly, but here I think it works, right? You really want the Levitate, you know, get that second ground resist. And then having a Rocker here that's not Nidoking really frees up like a Scarf option, or like sub 3 attacks, stuff like that. A lot of Nidoking sets that you want to run, so Bronzong is there to rock most of the time. And of course I can always do like offensive Trick Room stuff if you want to do a more offensive game plan, but the rest of the team doesn't really take advantage of Trick Room once it dies, so maybe not. Hello Happygate, welcome to the stream. Yeah. So Feraligatr here serves as another win condition. Just Dragon Dance Sheer Force is very strong. You got that double Sheer Force, very epic. Double Water type, which is nice. It allows one of them to be defensive and one of them to be offensive, or you can run both of them offensive and kind of like muscle through those water checks. There's like a lot of potential there. Yeah. So this is double Steel, double Water. So two of the best typings, and they're both doubled up. So you'll love to see that. Alright, let's look at this other team here. Mega Mawile, Rotom Wash, and Fernape. So you have like kind of a Volturn thing here going. Volturn into Mega Mawile makes a lot of sense. Got Crocodiles, a lot of roll compression, right? You get like a somewhat decent physical, like blanket check. You have your rocks, so you don't have to run them on Infernape so much. Bulky waters are so ass nowadays when offensive water is so hard to switch into. Yeah, that's kind of the trend we're seeing, right? For the most part. A lot of Greninja, you know, a lot of Tapu Fini. And by the way, Tapu Fini in draft, I don't know if you're paying attention too much, but Scarf is like such a common set these days. I think that's correct. Like Scarfini is so freaking good. Just offensive Fini sets in general. They hit so hard. Yeah, but anyways, Rotom Wash, you know, the blanket checks a bunch of stuff. Really good typing with Levitate, you know, great stabs, you know, a bunch of stuff. You can screen up for SD Mawile. You can like Will-O-Wisp things. It's very nice. Then Tangela, round 5 Tangela, which is pretty early, but Tangela does come at a premium these days. Fits on a lot of teams, so getting it early is understandable. Then you have the second Z Captain, Thunderous Eye. Now this Pokemon is like the fastest thing on the team, which is like the main criticism I have of this team. It's not too fast, you know what I mean? You do have a few good Scarfers, but not a ton. Like these 3 can all be Scarf pretty reasonably, but they don't all love running Scarf quite as much on this team, just because Crook is most likely going to be your rocker most weeks, unless you're running Fat Infernape. But, you know, you can kind of like trade the rocking role here, and like maybe Mawile can do it one week, but not exactly what you want to do necessarily. So a little bit of speed control, you know, stuff here. But yeah, Spiritomb, Carbink, they're just like, they're just there to collect a paycheck, I think. You know what I mean? I don't see any of them really coming except for Spiritomb against maybe like a Mega Gallade team. So maybe it's like a specific matchup thing. But anyways, they only brought it one time, so I'm not going to go too hard. This guy's just glazing the Van Chasers. I'm just glazing ipro this video, but yeah. Yeah, at the end of last stream, we voted we wanted to check out Feraligatr games. So we're just going to go over ipro's complete run. Alright, this other team, this is Tapu Koko Zygarde, so a pretty standard like duo here. And then Mega Diancie. So this is something uncommon, right? Double offensive fairy. We haven't really seen this too much before. So this is going to be interesting to see how this goes. Scizor, you know, another offensive Pokemon. You got your Steel type there, a lot of resist there. As long as we aren't glazing the Madmen, right? Now, who would do that? Alright, Mesprit here is like pretty good roll compression. You get Healing Wish into Zygarde with screens. That's a good possible set there. You have your reliable rocker, right? Because Mega Diancie doesn't really want to run rocks most of the time. You'd rather run Calm Mind, Rock Polish, something like that. Even like Sub Endeavor, something like that. Roserade, a really cool thing here because, you know, you want to absorb the T-Spikes because, you know, Zygarde with T-Spikes up is really, like, hard to do its thing, you know? You're not really setting up DDs when you're poisoned. It's, like, a lot harder. So having something to absorb that is nice. And then you have, like, a Spiker. So you have Spikes plus Coco, which is a really powerful combination. And then Spikes plus Zygarde. These two Pokemon, their base attack and special attack are not that high. So they really do appreciate the Spikes chip. Like, it goes a long way. Mega Diancie as well. You see a lot of times Mega Diancie is doing like 70-80% to something. So that little extra chip of like Stealth Rock and Spikes, that's going to put it over the line for these things. Alright, Throw, just like one of the GOAT low tiers, right? And then Swadloon is not a real Pokemon. So that kind of goes over the drafts, and now we can get into the games. We're going to go in chronological order, and we're going to start off against Hunter Z Infected. Now, if you don't know, Hunter had a really great DPL Season 8, which was earlier this year. He was playing a lot of Sword and Shield there, kind of spamming this Rain offense. So, obviously ipro is a great player, but Hunter is no slouch here. So it's going to be a great match. We see this like kind of regen core. You have Tangrowth plus Torrentee. You have Excadrill with your Sandsetter Gigalith. No T-Tar here, which is interesting. The Pursuit role is going to be filled by Muck with Mega Gallade. So Mega Gallade plus Pursuit is like relatively common. Usually you're going to see it with like Weavile or something like that. Maybe a Crocodile, but Alolan Muck, this is its best gen by far. Tangrowth was extinct nowadays. It's kind of extinct. Like, I haven't seen another Tangrowth. It's definitely endangered. But anyways, we have this this team. No Feraligatr this week, but if the doc is to be believed, we're gonna see 4 games of Feraligatr. So 4 out of 6 of this draft being brought, yeah, we're gonna see a Feraligatr. But anyways, is it Hunter Z infected or Zinfected? It's Hunter Z infected. You could tell because he's in Sun and Moon. Alright, anyways, what's the plan here, right? If you look at it, the only water resist is Tangrowth, so maybe a Calm Mind Feeny is able to get through that with you know, Surf plus Ice Beam. You don't really need Moonblast outside of Mega Glade, but that's a pretty good reason to run Moonblast, so maybe it's just dual stab here. I could see like a Specs Feeny here, that would be pretty cool, or Scarf, you know. If you need something to revenge the Glade on your team, then Scarf Feeny makes a lot of sense, but you do have a Mega Pidgeot, you have potentially a Scarf Kartana. There's a lot of options to revenge Mega Glade, so it's not like necessary to be Scarf Feeny. I could definitely see Specs, because Scarfini is just going to like kind of thud into Alolan Muck and Tangrowth, but Specs, that's when you're going to start doing actual damage to those things. Right, Zeraora, it looks like pretty good, probably going to be close combat here, just because it hits the Sand Core very well. Outside of that, you know, you're going to want to hit Tangrowth somehow, but I'm not too sure how exactly he wants to do that. Maybe it's going to be like a bulk up Iapapa Berry with, you know, Acrobatics. Something like that would be pretty cool with Sub. Alright, Kartana. There is a Torn and a Tangela, so pretty big roadblocks there. But that being said, it's still Kartana. You know, it can still do a lot of damage. The knockoffs are very good utility here. Yeah. Nidoking. This is a really strong breaker into Hunter's team, but it is very slow. So that gives me thinking maybe it's going to be a Scarf Nidoking, or it's just going to be defensive Nidoking with rocks. But the Bronzong being here makes me believe that a little bit less, as Bronzong is much more likely to be carrying the rocks. So maybe it's just here to take advantage of the Tangrowth, right? Tangrowth and Muck, it comes in on both of those, and Gigalith. So 3 Mons it kind of comes in on and can get a hit off, even though it's slower than the other 3. So I kind of see the vision there. Could be any set, really. Hard to tell. Bronzong, I would expect rocks, maybe a Culver Berry, something like that, pretty basic. And then Pidgeot just going to be like Hurricane Heat Wave, maybe Toxic for the Gigalith, maybe Reflect U-Turn, maybe something like that. Just reflect on the Gigalith coming in, and then you can U-Turn into like Feeny. It really covers everything that Gigalith can go for that turn. So that is possible, but we're just going to have to see, right? Let's get into the game. Muck leads off into Pidgeot, probably just going to have to U-Turn out of there. Goes for Hurricane. Alright, so this is not a Spadef Muck. That did a lot of damage. Zeravolt into Life Orb Nido is a pretty nice, and it's pretty hard to switch into Nido. Yeah, so he could be like going for like a Zera set that transitions a Tangrowth turn into a Nidoking turn. Just Volt Switch on it. That's pretty reasonable, yeah. So Pidgeot stays in to chip the Muck. This is pretty important because we get to know a little bit about iPro's game plan, right? He really wants this Muck weakened. Because normally you'd just want to switch out there, but he sees it as worth it to go for Hurricane. Gets his Nidoking knocked off as it is Life Orb. And now Torn is going to come in on Sludge Wave, does half. So gonna force it out with the threat of Z. Decides to pop it immediately as Zeraora comes in. That is 47%. We do not see an item, so could be Z, could be Iapapa, could be Citrus, one of those things. Bulks up on the switch to Muck, very nice. As we just see a Plasma Fist come out, and it's Rocky Helmet Tangrowth. So that's pretty notable that it's not Assault Vest. That opens up the Tapu Fini quite well. Weakening Muck early is kind of saying he wants to open up Fini probably. And yeah, given that it's not AV on the Tangrowth, Fini is looking really strong here. So honestly, not even a bad decision there. But now Gigalith is going to come in on the Z. So Hunter catches the Z Sky Strike very well. So well played by him. Scouts for that expertly, and he's going to get rewarded by Rocks Up. No, he does not. He wants to pivot back on the CC. But iPro one step ahead. Goes to Pidgeot. Wow, Pidgeot really is calling that Tangrowth pretty hard there. If Gigalith stays in, that's super bad for iPro, but I guess he knew that CC was going to threaten this. And given that Helmet is a 2-hit KO on Zera at this point, predicting the Tangrowth to come in is a very reasonable play. U-turns on the Gigalith. Yeah, very well played. Nidoking comes in for a sub. So it is sub 3 attacks. Allows the rocks to go up. I think Earth Power doesn't kill anyways, yeah. So Hunter, he wanted his rocks, he was able to just stay in because the life orb was gone. So very cool. But now the sand is like threatened to go away, right? Torn takes a massive sludge wave. Very nice prediction there, kind of a mid-ground, right? It'll kill this and it'll hit pretty much everything else. So Torn does come in though, and what are we going to see here? The Zeraora can't really switch in anymore. We're probably going to have to see a Bronzong or a sack here. And we're just going to sack the Nidoking, go for a dodge, you know, may as well. Now Bronzong does come out. Probably going to want to trade hazards here, just get rocks up. Goes for Gyro Ball instead, knocks out the Torn. That's also pretty reasonable. ipro does a really good job taking advantage of any potential openings he's given. Yeah, like those doubles were really clean. You know, you get way more Nidoking turns than you ever really bargained for, right? That being said, Hunter's playing this well overall. Alright, and then the knock comes out as as a stealth rock comes out, but now the Encore. So it could be Encore SD. It's not. So no real reward for the Encore play. But yeah, now Feeny comes in. And we see a knockoff, because this Feeny is a massive threat. You kind of need to just hit it when you can, as this is a super bulky Gallade. What the hell? Kind of explains why Knock was only doing 35, or like, was it 33? Yeah, 33 to Bronzong. So yeah, like, is this like specially defensive Gallade? It could be like a very bulky spread to take a Hurricane from full. That's something that you can do on Gallade, is EV for a Hurricane from Mega Pidgeot, but it does take a lot of EVs. However, Moonblast doing 50, Feeny is not a weak Pokemon. This looks like near max Spadef Mega Gallade, if my head calcs are correct. But anyways, Destiny Bond. Is this a roll? Well, it's a crit, so we don't know. Feeny gone. This is actually massive for Hunter. Absolutely massive trade there. However, the sand is dead to rock, so he needs to get a spin off if he wants to get sand. And even if he does get sand, Kartana is able to check the Excadrill. So honestly, Kartana is looking really good, actually. So I don't know if Hunter really had a way out of it. That's a good trade for him, obviously, but taking a step back and looking at the overall situation, I think ipro has this in the bag, right? Because you just go Cart here. Do you actually? Maybe you go Pidgeot. Maybe Pidgeot's better. Alright, we see a Muck come in as the Zera comes in, so I was completely wrong. But it's not Iapapa Berry on the Muck. So very interesting. We're going to see the Tangrowth switch in on the Plasma Fist. But this is the only thing that takes a hit from Cart. I think if you're Zera, you just stay in. Yeah, you get your chip. Does it have Synthesis? It has Reflect. So that's going to save you from Kartana for now. Alright. Zera makes sense as the best mid-ground since it's the least important here, probably. Yeah, I could see that. It's also like a Pokemon that prevents the spin via CC. So you force the chip on a Tangrowth, basically, and then your Kartana's a little bit freed up. It's not that much chip. You're going to regen most of it off, but with Rocks up, you're only regenning, what, 21%? So, yeah, Kartana is pretty poised to finish off this endgame, especially alongside Pidgeot, which is also, you know, really great here. We're probably just going to see a Hurricane here, as Gigalith is sacked off, so the sand is officially dead. Now we're going to see what Muck come in, but we know this kills, right? So it's Custap Berry. Scouts for the Custap, of course. Yeah, he just scouts for it, man. Well played by ipro. He saw right through that. And now he can freely just sack his Kartana. It's all good, because this Pidgeot's going to sweep the game with Hurricane into Heat Wave, or just 2 Heat Waves, you know, either way. So that's 1, and it's going to KO the Excadrill. I'm pretty sure Excadrill could have EV'd to take that, but obviously it didn't. It wanted to be offensive. Sand Rush with the Gigalith makes sense. So can't really blame Hunter. He played that really well, but ipro was just a little bit better. Really great prep overall. Yeah, just well played by both ends. So that was a great game to analyze. Very cool. The USUM player pool is pretty stacked, you know what I mean? Because you're going to see the quality of opponents is very good. Next up we have Aster J, my goat. Here we get the first taste of Feraligatr. Alright, shout out to the thumbnail mon. Alright, so here Uh, we don't see a lot of Pokemon revealed in the game. I'll spoiler it a little bit. But just for the exercise, let's go over some likely sets potentially. Alright, so Zeraora here looks pretty strong. You could be a Z Dragon here, as Aster does have double Dragon. So the Z Outrage is pretty useful. And then just bulk up, pretty reasonable set. Feraligatr, probably going to be DD. Outside of that, we don't really know too much else, like what's the item going to be, what's the actual moves. Probably Water Ice coverage is the most reasonable here. I know there's a Lantern on the bench, so maybe Earthquake, Waterfall, and Ice Punch. Something like that would make a lot of sense. Alternatively, you could be like Waterfall, Aqua Jet, Ice Punch. But I think you probably do want to respect the Lantern here. Tapu Fini. So this set, when we were mocking, we ran a lot of Scarf Fini. Just because it outpaces a Zygarde. Adamant Zygarde is like slower than Fini. Is it? Yeah, it's slower than Fini. Ah yes, mine was weak too. Yes. Welcome, Master, you're just in time. So we mocked a lot of Scarf Fini, but it ends up not being that. I remember this game vividly, you know what I mean? Once you see it, you can't forget. Alright. Mega Pidgeot though. Alright, this is a good Pokemon. It's either a Lantern or a Kecleon in the last slot as like a dedicated switch in to these like special threats. We decided to go with Kecleon because it also can kind of check Fini if it is like a Scarf set. It only does a little bit of damage with the Moonblast, and you're able to get rocks up with the Kecleon, which is very cool. It's also a Thunder Punch, so very cool. Checks the Pidgeot and the Fini in one slot, which is hard to do. Anyways, there's a Nidoking here. So Nidoking, it could be Scarf here. This is like the other possible Scarfer. His Cart could also be Scarf, so there's a lot of Scarfer options. Maybe you want to cover for +1 Zygarde like Jolly, so Kartana would be the Scarfer there, but it doesn't actually hit Zygarde that hard, so it's hard to say. The Nidoking is probably going to be like a rock set here. There's no Bronzong. Yeah, Nidoking was mainly defensive because there's a Mega Mawile here. And then like Infernape with like Flare Blitz and stuff, because you need to be physical to have Gunk Shot for the Fini, unless you want to be mixed Infernape, which it could be. But physically defensive Nidoking makes a lot of sense here. Let's get into the game real quick. This is going to be a quick one, folks. Feraligatr leads off against Latios. We switch out into Crobat, which is Rocky Helmet, and now we roost up. Feraligatr is going to take this as an opportunity to DD in its face, and it's just going to DD again. This is a very bulky Feraligatr here, and you're going to see it's going to be Aya Papa Berry. So this next Brave Bird is not even going to 2-hit KO. It's going to put it all the way back up to 64, which is really dangerous because now you can just attack the Crobat, and now you have to deal with a +3. Why is that +3? Yeah, +3 Feraligatr. With the Intimidate, it's only +2 attack, but that's still a very strong move. Mawile takes the Earthquake 95%, so just barely able to hang on and takes out the Feraligatr. But this is a lot of progress early on, right? KOs the Crobat and makes the Mawile down to 5%. Now Pidgeot comes in, and you're going to see a Reflect come out. If I remember correctly, yeah, Reflect. So Kecleon, this is a physical Pokemon, but we can just get rocks up here. But Tapu Fini comes in, and behind Reflect, it is a very dangerous situation. Now Aster stays in to knock off the Fini first, as you don't really want this thing with leftovers or, as you can see, another Aya Papa Berry. So as you can see, the game plan this game is just set up with the double setup water types, very bulky setup. And you know, on Aster's side, there's not a whole lot for this, right? Fini, as far as water types go, it's a pretty good one. And the only water resist on this team of 6 is Latios, which of course can't really take on Moonblast. So here, Mawile comes in, trying to limit the amount of setup, as well as like clear the dark type out of Kecleon because Protean. But here, the Iron Defense comes out, and this is where it gets dire, right? Because this Thunder Punch is doing 7%, and that's tough. You know what I mean? Like, what are you supposed to do here? So Reflect does wear off, but this Fini is quickly boosting out of control. And there's not really a whole lot Aster can really do about it at this point, right? I mean, what are you supposed to do here? Go Latios and start Psychicking maybe? But this Latios was like the win con of this team, right? So yeah, it's hard to say what Aster could have done here besides, you know, fish for crits, fish for paras. Yeah, a recover comes out, so gonna be able to delay the inevitable, but it is inevitable at this point. Plus 6 defense, so this this Feeny is like back to doing 7% with Thunder Punch. Aster could have gotten his team to mock better. Yeah, we didn't mock once against Double Dance Feeny behind Reflect, so that's on us. But yeah, this is gonna be rough. Moonblast is now 2-hit KO at plus 3, and yeah. And I believe it's just going to sweep, right? Energy Ball does 20%. Shout out. Flare Blitz does 5. Now, you did tell everyone to bring Setup Gator. Yeah, you did. And we did play against some Calm Mind Feenies, but a lot of them were Scarf. For good reason. Like, Scarf Feenie's good on here. No one really did, so not on me. I thought someone brought DD Gator. I think it was like Cookie. Did they bring max HP Iapopagator? They surely did not. But yeah, this is gonna be the game. So like, judging from like the game plan here, it seemed like these were just early game pieces designed to get like a lot of progress, and then maybe Zeraora can clean up, maybe Scarf Kartana, something like that. But turns out it just broke through all the way by itself, and that's gonna be the game. Let's move on to week 3 against K-Crick. So back to back, some really great opponents. Now let's look at this K-Crick team because it has some unorthodox Pokemon like Gourgeist and Salazzle. You know, not something you'll see every day. And I know Aster J is going to be defending Salazzle in my chat in 3, 2, 1. Damn, I missed the prediction. This is so sad. But I know Aster loves Salazzle. That's his boy. Alright, his girl. Oh, there it is, there it is. It was a little late. I think Aster's just a little bit behind the stream, maybe. But, there we go. I played Gator kind of like Zygarde. Just lead it to break holes for the rest of the team, which is crazy value for 4 points. Yeah, it was a great game plan, right? A great lead. And obviously it worked out. So this is a Zygarde mirror. So we see pretty much all of the Zygardes back to back in those 2 games. Because there's only 3 pools, so seeing the Zygarde mirror twice is pretty rare. But anyways, let's look at this matchup. So now we're bringing this Coco double offensive fairy team. And let's see. So Coco is like relatively contained, but the Coco switch-ins don't really enjoy, you know, Roserade with HP Ice. Something like that can really take advantage of that. Although it's probably HP Fire for the Scizor if I had to guess. Something like Diancie can also take advantage of the Zygarde coming in, unless it's Scarf. Scarf Zygarde is pretty reasonable against this team, so we're going to have to see if that is the set. But if it isn't, then U-turn into Diancie Moonblast is pretty free. And yeah, if Gourgeist comes in, then you can just go Roserade. Not a big deal. Let's see. The Zygarde on iPro's team probably looks to be... Honestly, I could see DD Subtoxic. That would be a really powerful set here, right? Because the only things that really want to come in are Uxie and Gourgeist. Both of them kind of struggle to break your sub unless they're HP Ice. So I could see like a sub DD Toxic Arrows set. I think that's pretty cool. Or you could just get T-Spikes up, but the Salazzle is going to be able to absorb it for most of the game, so not the most reliable thing. Maybe a Toxic Coco to kind of set that up ahead of time. That's also a possible play. So yeah. Scizor here. There's kind of a lot for Scizor. Probably just going to be Akaberry, Mega Diancie check kind of thing. Nothing too fancy. Yeah, Roserade probably going to be Spikes. Is it going to be Spikes? We'll see. You need Sludge Bomb. You want Hidden Power something. Fire or Ice. Probably Fire. Maybe you want like Sleep Powder or something. Stun Spore. Anything like that. I don't know. There's a lot of things for Rosary to like tech on here. It can't really fit everything. So we're just going to have to see what ipro decided to bring. And then Mesprit is looking to be the rocker here. Maybe like a Citrus Berry looks pretty useful in this matchup in particular because stuff like Mega Diancie, pretty prone to be doing like about 50 to most Mesprit spreads. So after rocks, you know, that's a 2-hit KO, something like that. So having that Citrus to bridge the gap seems pretty useful. So yeah, we're just going to have to see. A Healing Wish does look pretty nice, especially if you are that sub-DD Zygarde that I was talking about. Getting a second life on that thing looks pretty brutal. Alright, let's look into the game here. So Rosary leads off into Gourgeist as it reveals the Akka Berry via Frisk, as it is Spike's lead. So Fire Blast immediately to break the Akka Berry. And now Extra Sensory. This was predicting a Salazzle to come in. But I feel like maybe you could have just taken your 3 spikes and go. Diancie does come in on the Hidden Power Fire, so K-Crick maneuvers pretty well about that, but a spike does go up and you do get a little bit of chip on a few things. So overall, I think ipro is happy with that, but I think K-Crick is also happy with that, you know what I mean? Let me get some water real quick. Alright, Coco comes in to revenge kill the Diancie. So, is this going to be like a T-Bolt angle? Does T-Bolt kill? It's Fairy Z. So, T-Bolt, yes, is the click. So, with the Fairy Z, you're not really afraid of Zygarde coming in on the T-Bolt. So, it makes it a much more free click. But Gourgeist is able to live the Dazzling Gleam, go for a Sludge Bomb. Not able to kill, though. Not able to poison. And a Thunderbolt is going to be really free to pick that off. So Zygarde does come in. This is Screaming Scarf now. So ipro obviously is going to scout for that. I'm not just going to fire the Z right into a Scarf arrows. Yeah, as this Mesprit does take a lot from arrows. 35 does seem like a lot, so it's probably especially defensive, or it's like a more offensive Mesprit. But here a Explosion Diancie, never letting up the pressure here. So this is very good by K-Crick. This is something that you see ipro run as well later in the season, Explosion Diancie. I wonder if he got the idea from K-Crick here, and he's like, you know, that's kind of a good idea, I'm going to run that more. But because I distinctly remember more Explosion Diancies from the side of ipro. But that's cool to see. Breaks through the Mesprit, denies rocks probably for the rest of the game, unless they are on the Diancie on ipro's team. But that being said, you don't really care too much about rocks. Salazzle HP is like, it's good for Scizor, but that's pretty much it. You're going to die to most things anyways. But yeah, very cool thing. Salazzle comes in trying to keep the Scizor out. Zygarde is going to come in though, and it's just going to DD, I imagine. No, it goes for arrows, does 23%. Yeah, so I guess you get a little bit of chip, and then you get your Diancie in on Uxie. As Stealth Rock goes up, but this Uxie is getting dual screens up. So we're going to see dual screens into something set up here. If I had to imagine, he's going to go for a Scizor endgame here. As behind screens, it's able to kind of 1v1 the rest of the team. And there's an explosion. So they both had a similar idea. Very cool. Actually blocks the Memento from Uxie, which is pretty cool. Sup King05, sup Jesse, what's going on? Alright, so Coco does come in on the Uxie. Are we going to see a taunt? We see a sub. So this is another turn blocking the Memento. And it Calm Minds up. So there's no way this Uxie is going to be able to break this up. And this is looking like a wrap here. You're not only wasting the screen turns, but this Coco, who's going to check this thing? Z's to take out the Uxie, and Zygarde comes in. We know it's Scarf, but it's +2 Dazzling Gleam, so it's basically neutral when you take into account the screens. It doesn't pick off the Zygarde, so maybe it could have been a roll, but yeah, the Earthquake is going to be able to knock out this Coco. So K-Crick got out of that one alive, but his screen turns are now gone. Zygarde comes in on the Zygarde, uses it as DD fodder because we know it's locked in. Is this Citrus Berry? No, it's Rest. So we rest up with a Chesto Berry, and that's going to be another DD, I imagine. Yep, and now You're just going to click arrows. And now Scizor is not going to be able to one-shot the Zygarde. If it's Choice Band, it'll two-shot and it'll take 1 arrows. But I think the combination of arrows and E-Speed will be able to do it. It's SD Scizor. Do we see it at E-Speed? We do not see an E-Speed, but it's so bulky. Yeah, this Zygarde took nothing from that, so that's going to be the game. ipro sets up the DD win con, and that's going to be the game. Really well played, honestly, by ipro here. I think he definitely outplayed K-Crick in the early game and the mid game. Really able to set up this endgame situation. Those turns like denying the Uxie Memento were really, really important, I think. Because you're able to start this sequence of you have to deal with Coco and then you have to deal with Zygarde, which is just impossible, right? Because who's dealing with Coco besides Scarf Zygarde? And if you lock into EQ, you actually turn into DD fodder of your own. So it's kind of that back-to-back idea. How good would hypothetical Terra Zygarde be? It should be pretty good, right? Because you have Terra normal E-Speed options on Choice Band sets. A lot of times you can just Terra Ground, right? Because it's not the strongest Pokemon, and then you kind of increase that stab. It's pretty useful. Terra Fairy setup also would be pretty cool. Yeah, probably going to be Terra Band if that were in the Paldea decks. Would Memento and Mega Diancie get Magic bounced? I think the Uxie would still die, but the drops would be bounced back, you know what I mean? I'm not actually too sure about that. I don't think the Mega Diancie would kill itself, you know what I mean? Honestly, I'm kind of down to test that, but not right now. I don't know about Band, but it would be on par with D-Knight. So Band? Like what? Aster. What? Okay, man. Very funny, very funny. Alright, so let's look into the next game. This is against Odin. So another great opponent, right? Odin is just coming off the back of a really, really strong DPL performance, right? I think he went 6-1 in Sun and Moon. So this is going to be another heavyweight matchup. These opponents are all very good players, you know. And we see the debut of Monferno. Shout out. Unfortunately, the Feraligatr is benched. This is so sad. But anyways, I think it would probably be better than D-Knight. But it might be like team dependent, style dependent, stuff like that. But anyways, Monferno is here. Why is Monferno here? We got to figure this out. What's the Memento Clear Amulet interaction, just out of curiosity? That's for a different time right now. We're looking at Sun and Moon games. Bench one Shiesty starter for another. That's our Zard check. I don't know about that. Probably going to be just physically defensive, like Toxic Rocks kind of thing. But like, you have Bronzong and Nidoking. Can you not fit Rocks elsewhere? Monferno can only be here to free up Nidoking and Zong from having to run Rocks, right? That's what I'm thinking, but it doesn't make a whole lot of sense in my head. So yeah, we're just going to have to see what this Monferno is. Could it be like some weird lead Sash set with like Blaze and stuff? Endeavor? That would be kind of cool. Yeah. Outside of that, I'm really not too sure what this Monferno is. Scarf Nido, Trick Room Zong maybe. But Trick Room Zong into like Zard X, it's not going to break through that. Rotom Wash, it's never going to break through that. And Cobalion as well, like way too many roadblocks for it. Endeavor would be Shiest, yeah. I'm thinking this might be just like Sash lead on the Monferno. Because like what else is it doing here? It's like not even that great into any Pokemon. Like maybe Shaman? But are you really bringing a Monferno just for Shaman when you have a Bronzong? Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So we're going to have to see. Bronzong though, could be, I don't know. It needs something to prevent Zard from DDing on it, so maybe Explosion. Normal Gem looks pretty reasonable. Should be lower level if it's Sash Endeavor. No, because you still want to outspeed stuff, right? Like defensive Nidoqueen. Trust me, bro, everything brings it to Sash. Look at this team. without a Violite. Yeah, he's just cooked. But anyways, yeah, I think maybe an Explosion Bronzong. I could see like a Choice Banded Bronzong, like Houdini set. That could be pretty interesting, because if you boom into like Rotom Wash, then all of a sudden your Pidgeot is opened up. Earth Power is a little bit more free from your Nidoking, stuff like that. If you boom on Zygarde, that's excellent as well. If you boom into Cobalt, that's pretty bad, but what can you do? Zeraora, what is it going to be here? Probably going to be something for Zygarde, you know, because this team is like relatively weak to Zygarde. You definitely need like ways to prevent it from setting up freely. So probably going to be like a Z Outrage thing. It's also your strongest option into Nidoqueen, so I would not be too surprised to see that. Alternatively, it could be like just a Toxic set, but Natural Cure Shaman should kind of deter that, as well as Nidoqueen. So yeah, my prediction is Z Outrage. Anyways, Nidoking, let's see, could be Shukaberry to kind of win the Nido trade. It's pretty good defensively here into Koko and Cobalion, so I could definitely see like a fatter Nidoking set here. Whether it's going to be like HP and special attack, for example, or like some kind of combination, we're not too sure. Alright, Kartana here though. Kartana looks really good overall. Outspeeds 5 Pokemon and kind of like low-key walls Koko, because Nidoking is probably going to demand the hidden power slot. You're not going to be able to fit HP Fire. Probably going to be HP Ground on the Koko if I had to guess. Covers Zeraora and Nidoking. Trick Room Boom on Zygarde plus remove the Cobalion. Free Leaf Blades. Yeah, that could be something, right? Offensive Trick Room with Boom. I could totally see that. Maybe Life Orb, something like that. Like Life Orb, Gyro, Earthquake, Boom. I could totally see that actually. So yeah, it makes sense why you would want Rocks on Monferno then. Because, yeah. But defensive Nidoking is fine for rocking here, honestly. So we're still going to have to see about that. But yeah, Kartana. It could be Scarf just to have something faster than +1 Zygarde. But I'm not too sure about that. Other than Scarf, I could see like SD Life Orb. Could be pretty potent. Or just SD like a bulkier set. Like Eevee, so that you take like a Koko move like more easily. Something like that. I could see it. But yeah. Basically any cart looks pretty decent here. But it does have to get through a few things. Mostly going to be that Zygarde and that Shaman that you're mostly worried about. And then Mega Pidgeot just looks not that great here. There's double electric, so it's probably just going to be Toxic here, just like Toxic those guys, and you know, just go to Nidoking on Koko. Maybe that's the best you can offer here. I don't know. Let's just get into the game real quick. So lead Zardex, this is correct. I love me some lead Zardex. The Bronzong is able to live the Flare Blitz and go for a Toxic. So it's just leftovers Toxic. But now Monferno is going to come in on Flare Blitz. So it looks to be physically defensive Eviolite. So once this thing's Toxic, you can kind of switch in on it. Goes for the U-turn, not willing to let up the momentum here. Kind of signaling he doesn't have rocks on this thing. So it's probably going to be Rocks Nidoking then. Because otherwise that was like free rocks, right? You just go for that. Foul play into the Bronzong as rocks go up. So I was right about rocks not being on Monferno, but it is on Bronzong. I should have known that as soon as it revealed leftovers Toxic. My bad. But now Defog Rotom makes some sense, but you know, gonna trade that for a Toxic. Shaman gets Healing Wish this gen, right? Yeah, it should, right? I think it had Healing Wish in all gens. Anyways. Bronzong not able to keep up the rocks here, as a foul play is going to force it out. Kartana willing to take that hit, doubles out into Pidgeot, predicting the Shaman, gets that play correct. Probably going to see a U-turn here, just to get that momentum on your side. We see a Hurricane. That does a lot to Koko, so this is not a defensive Koko. This is very offensive. I would have expected to see a U-turn kind of covering for the Rotom and the Koko, but I guess Hurricane is pretty reasonable as well, considering they're both Well, Rotom's toxic, and the Coco would take quite a bit. My B-Specs, Megapidgey, you're so stupid. Nidoking able to come in on this Coco. It looks to be Assault Vest Nidoking from that damage, 27 from Hidden Power Ground. But now Super Fang comes out, chips the Cobalion, so that's really good for Kartana. Zeraora as well appreciates that chip. Monferno able to come in on the Iron Head, get a U-turn. So Zeraora is going to come in. Are we going to see a sub here? We're not. We're going to see a knockoff with Choice Band. It looks like it's Choice Band damage anyways. That could just be like a very, very offensive Nidoqueen, judging that it's Scarf. No bulk. But still, I think that's probably banded, right? How does it do 53? Because then, if it's not banded, you're telling me that actual Choice Banded knockoff would be doing 78, 79 to Nidoking, or Nidoqueen, which does not seem right at all. So I have to assume this is a boosting item of some sort. So yeah, Bronzong comes in on the Rocks. Are we going to see a Rocks trade? Flamethrower, but it revealed Heat Proof turn 1. Goes for the Psychic, so not willing to trade Rocks here. I don't know if I agree with that, but getting rid of the Nidoqueen is nice for the Zeraora, so I kind of get it. Coco is going to be able to knock out this Bronzong, but now Nidoking is going to come in, get a free hit off. Sludge Waves into the Rotom, very good play, but the Iapapa Berry is there. How does he break Monferno? This Mon's looking so broken. I mean, low-key, the Rotom's like low, the Nidoqueen's dead. I kind of see the vision, but Monferno's also at half after hazards. Yo, Lives the Hydro Pump is crazy. It looks like he was just like bargaining. I'm going to guess that my Nidoking is faster. Hopefully able to knock out the Rotom before taking a pump, but not the case. Coco's going to just finish this off. Don't really have a great switch into HP Ground. But now Zeraora going to come in. And with Choice Band with the terrain, I was going to say you could go for a Plasma Fist. Even into a Resisted Shaman, it's going to do a lot of damage, but Return is clicked. Trying to 2-hit KO like an offensive Shaman or something like that. But instead gets the Cobalion. Odin was just trying to sack it, but now he's going to get a Rock Polish and a Close Combat off. So Zeraora takes a lot of HP for that, but is able to secure a KO. Zygarde comes out and freaking dies. Okay. Sure. Shaman comes in, takes 40. So, oh, it's eject button. Shout out to eject button, folks. If it's banned Zera, he's a lot happier trading Nido instead of Rocks, right? I don't know about that, because it was already at half, right? So if you get Rocks up, force it out, it's already in like return range, which seems to be the button of choice. That item ruins games. God, I hate it. Same, man. Every time people like suggest, oh, we could run eject button, it's gonna be so cool here, I'm like, alright, try it for a mock and see what happens. And then they come back and they're like, I get it. This item's so terrible. Because it always procs when you don't want it. Like here, this is so sad. And now Coco has to die. This is a self-goob, man. This game should have been a lot closer than it was. Shaman is not going to be able to solo this, yeah. The game's over. But anyways, that's going to be the game against Odin. We saw Monferno Masterclass low-key, like getting that momentum. Let's see. The AV Nidoking was really good. Banded Zeraora makes a lot of sense. Why didn't he go into Shaman first, knowing it's eject? Well, think of it like this way. If you go Shaman, then you proc the eject button, and then you go Cobalion, it's better. So yeah, totally. Totally you should do that. But, I guess he saw it differently. I don't know. He just wanted to sack the Cobalion, I guess, for fun. Monferno with Eviolite is bulkier than Infernape, right? Yes, it is, for sure. But anyways, now we have ipro against II. Yeah, I think Zygarde plus Coco just wins if Shaman is any other item. Yeah, low-key. Let's see, because Zygarde is like low in Toxic though, but Coco looks really powerful if it's not Scarf Kartana, which it never revealed anything, so we'll never know. But yeah, kind of fumbled by Odin. prep error and then a little bit of a play error. So combines for some pretty nasty stuff. So II here had a great season, honestly. He went 5-3, which was pretty nice. But ipro is also great. So this is like a sand Pidgeot kind of team with Mienshao. You see Mienshao a lot on these like sand teams for some reason. I don't really understand it too much myself, but I see it a lot. Then you have a Zeraora. This is something that's not too common on sand, but he has it. And then a Celebi, which is a pretty rare Pokemon to see in draft. Goated Celebi appearance. Yep, shout out to Aster J. I think someone in chat beat both players on screen, not sure who. I wonder who that is. I don't know. The answer is escaping me. Maybe we'll find out in playoffs. But yeah, I digress. We see the GOAT Feraligatr. Now let's see. So this Kartana looks pretty good outside of like, has to get through Celebi, has to get through Pidgeot. But that's like the only real barriers, and a knockoff is going to do a lot to Celebi. Even an X-Scissor doesn't even look too bad. Pidgeot, though, probably going to be like very bulky, trying to stop the bleeding from Kartana. Let's see another Gator Masterclass. Yes, let's. Alright. So what set would Kartana be, though? I don't know if it would be Scarf. Maybe it would be. But I think the better Scarf for this game is probably going to be the Nido, right? I don't know. Something like that. I could see like a non-choice Kartana being quite good here. Because they have like resist to your moves, but only 2 Pokemon faster. Kind of sucks. Then you're probably able to live one from most Zera sets. Maybe not, though. Maybe it's like choice banded. We'll never know. Well, maybe we'll know. Let's find out. So the Zera set for ipro, what are we looking at here? Judging that Kartana is so good, you maybe want something aimed at luring in the Celebi and doing a lot of damage to it, because I don't see another great Zeraora switch in. So it could be like choice banded knock, something like that, or like a Calm Mind HP bug. Yo, how heat would that be? Like a Calm Mind T-Bolt, Z Focus Blast HP bug. I could totally see that. That looks really strong, actually. Like, yo. But yeah. Hopefully it's that set. That looks really cool. Zong here. Probably going to be the rocker. Like I said, I think Nidoking is like a pretty good Scarfer here. Just able to revenge kill the opposing Zeraora. Outspeed the Celebi. Outspeed a lot of things. Covers the Quill in the back just fine too. Yeah, there was a Quillfish on this Trick of Eye team. So yeah, that would be pretty cool. Zong rocks. Probably Earthquake. Earthquake Gyro Ball. Toxic maybe? Maybe it's some bug move for Celebi as well, just because chipping it is so important here. I could totally see that. Right, Feraligatr, you already know, this thing's the GOAT. A defensive Feraligatr does look pretty strong here, actually. It does have really respectable bulk on the physical side, and up against Excadrill, a Mienshao, stuff like that, you maybe do want the physically defensive piece, but also DD does look really strong as well. The only water resist is Celebi. So, yeah, we know a Quillfish is on the bench, so that might deter a DD Feraligatr a little bit. But it's not in the lobby right now, so II is going to have to find a way to deal with that. Probably going to be through the Celebi or through a Sand, but you do have the option to be Aqua Jet. So you can't let it boost up too much, or else Excadrill is just going to die. So, yeah, Feraligatr looks really good here. Nidoking, we went over this, is probably going to be Scarf in my eyes, but it could be other sets. You never know. And then this Tapu Fini. This probably looks more like a physically defensive angle. You know what I mean? The Mienshao on the other side. The Excadrill, you want something that's able to take an Earthquake from that at +2. Maybe an Iapapa Berry, maybe Rocky Helmet, because you probably are expecting to get knocked off no matter what because of the Mienshao. Cart Break, Celebi, Life Orb, SD, Aqua Jet wins. Yeah, that's also pretty fair. You just need to chip Zeraora a little bit for that. So I think DD is a little bit more likely. Let's not forget the drill is Z here. Yeah, that's true. So drill looking like a massive threat, honestly, yeah. So probably going to be like Levitate, Bronzong for that. And you can't be Mold Breaker and Sand Rush, so pick your poison there. Keyberry CM procs on the knock, right? Keyberry does not get procced by knockoff, unfortunately. Alright. You know, low-key, I might have to take a bathroom break right now. Chat, keep yourselves busy. Look at this matchup a little bit. I'll be right back. Alright, we're so back. And I come back to Mounte in my chat. Life is good. Anyways. Yeah, Aster's in a new Wi-Fi league. That's right. Alright, so we kind of went over the matchup here. What sets are likely. Let's get into the game. Alright, Mienshao leads off into Nidoking. This is like pretty decent for both sides, right? You do want chip on this Nidoking. But also Nidoking is able to take one from Mienshao. So maybe like if it's Assault Vest Mienshao, you're perfectly fine staying in here. And a knockoff would lead me to believe it's Assault Vest. Maybe not 84 is a lot, but yeah, we'll see. Excadrill comes in on the Superpower. That's a massive play by ipro. That's enormous. That's game winning. Damn. So breaks the balloon. Yeah, that's just a great, like, mid-ground kind of thing. Yeah, that was awesome. Bronzong comes in on the Excadrill, but rocks are going up. Probably going to see a rocks trade. Yep, there it is. Yeah, I didn't have to risk that there. You didn't have to, but, like, also, what's your play if you're II? No shot the Nido Sucker here. But, yeah, but Knock didn't kill. It lost its item, right? Yeah, it did 45 with the item, so 37 it would have lived. So maybe you're not willing to give up your Mienshao turn 2, or I guess turn 3. So, and especially considering you have Air Balloon Excadrill, covers both stabs. I kind of see the vision, but ipro saw right through that, you know? Anyways, Rocks trade, T-Tar comes in, Rock polishes up, trying to catch a weakness policy activate it looks like. CC surely kills HJK. I'm not too sure about that. Let's see. So Knock was base 97.5, right? And resisted HJK is what, 130, 1.5. So like a little bit weaker. Yeah, it probably would have killed. Yeah, HJK is a little bit less than 97, but yeah, probably would have killed. So maybe an error by II, but yeah, it is what it is. We're here now. Obviously trying to catch like a gyro ball on a weakness policy or something like that. Rock Polish, T-Tar usually screams weakness policy, but ipro not going to fall for that one. Instead sets up Reflect and goes into Feeny Takes 22%, so not a whole lot. No leftovers. As a Moonblast comes in, activates the weakness policy, like we said. And now this... Oh, he misses Stone Edge. That's tough. That being said, there's a lot of ways that ipro could have gotten out of that situation, right? Feraligatr, able to eat one, potentially have Aqua Jet. But yeah, that's a big miss. Scarf Kartana as well would have outsped. So a lot of ways that could have been revenged, but yeah. Can't hit 3 in a row. Yeah, what was he expecting? Man. Anyways, Drill comes in here. But Reflect is still up, and this Feeny is not too useful anymore, so just going to go for Moonblast. It's actually Specs at 39. So 69 to T-Tar. I guess it's just like a very, very bulky T-Tar, because that's Specs Feeny. Shout out. Alright, Pidgeot in to Hurricane here, pretty reasonable. But now this is going to be a Zeraora turn, right? Yeah, Zeraora comes in. You could probably Calm Mind on this thing, if you're the set that I think. It's bulk up, you know, whatever. Setup turn. Scarf Celebi, that's new. Able to knock off the Celebi though. Gets rid of the Scarf, able to 2-hit KO. And yeah, so this Zera is low. So Pidgeot is a little bit opened up, but still has to deal with a Bronzong. But yeah, could be anyone's game. Looks like a potential speed tie won by II here. We don't know the spreads though, so maybe it wasn't a speed tie. Nidoking comes in, dies to Fire Punch, so this is looking dire. Bronzong being forced to take this chip actually gets bulked up on as Reflect goes up again, but this Zeraora is getting very bulked up here. Now the only thing you have to worry about here is a crit or like getting in Sacred Sword range, because that'll ignore the defense boosts. Is it Iapapa Berry? No, it's Normalium Z, so yeah, I don't know about that. I guess what else were you doing against Bronzong besides this? You kind of have to trade. Yeah, now you're even in Leaf Blade range, so you don't even have to go for Sacred Sword. You can just lock into this. I guess Sacred Sword is actually a better lock-in, low-key. So maybe he doesn't have Sacred Sword, but that would be weird into T-Tar Drill. I don't know. Feather Dance, though. It is Scarf Kartana, so it's locked in. Feather Dance comes out. Roosts up, and Feraligatr on Feather Dance. So do we see a SD? So there's more SDs than there are Feather Dances. So, oh, my voice is so hoarse, man. Been a little sick these past few days, and a lot of talking. But yeah, SD and Feather Dance, you know, there's going to be more SDs. So if it were DD, ipro would have lost this game. But your Hurricane only doing 39%, that's a big deal. I was able to, you know, the next one's going to put it in Iapapa range, right? And yeah, you can't keep doing this forever. You're just going to keep SDing until you Hurricane, yeah. Gets the Iapapa, I see a SD again, and now he's going to attack. No confusion over three attempts, a little bit unlucky, right? But you'd have to full confuse, so yeah. And at this point, Scarf Kartana had it anyways, even if Fake Out killed. So, shout out to Gator. The greatest Pokemon of all time. I'm literally dying out here. Anyways, next up. Harris. So another good player. This is like some Kyurem Black Spin Steelix kind of thing. You've seen this archetype before, but yeah, get Hockey to make you some chicky noodles. I'll make some dinner after the stream, but yeah. Gator Serviceable Bulk makes it a crazy good draft mon. Yeah, it's kind of like whatever you invest in, it's going to be really good at. Here it was obviously like HP and attack, so obviously that was pretty good. What we're going to see here, so we see a Mew. That's always hard to prep for. This could be anything. Another Salazzle, shout out. So the Steelix is kind of tasked with a lot here. Has to deal with Kartana and Zeraora. So that's a little bit rough. Nothing really else wants to come in on both of those guys outside of that, so wearing down Steelix seems like a really good game plan. Let's see. Feeny looks really, really good. It's like a calm mindset. Maybe Scarf. Scarf looks great too. Yeah. Zong, probably going to be the rocker here. Definitely going to be the rocker. You don't go rockless versus this team at all. Wakan Feeny looks good. For sure, yeah. I think if you are Calm Mind, you're probably going to be Wakan Berry. Otherwise, I think Scarf looks pretty good as well. Just outspeed the KB, outspeed the Arrow, outspeed the Salazzle. Looks pretty good. So, Rock Zong, maybe like Earthquake Toxic, maybe? I can kind of see that. Zeraora, so again, I think like a special Z Focus Blast set looks best here. But you could also make a pretty good case for Bulk Up here. Just depends on whatever he wants to go for. Both are perfectly fine. Mega Pidgeot looks pretty good here. Just has to deal with the Aerodactyl, but Aerodactyl is a pretty good Pidgeot check, all things considered. But if you're able to get through that, it kind of outspeeds everything else and deals really good damage to everything. Bulk Up, Taunt, Drain, Plasma is very strong. Yeah, could totally be that set. You know, that with Weakness Policy would kind of go crazy, no? Yeah, I can see that for sure. Yeah, and then Feraligatr. What's the Feraligatr gonna be, right? Huh. Because, DD has to deal with Blastoise and Kyurem Black. It's not going to be doing too much damage against either of those. Maybe it has, like, low kick for Kyurem Black, but Blastoise is a pretty hard counter as far as counters go. Alright. Let's just get into the game. Honestly, Water is super spammable outside of those two. Double Scarf or Water isn't bad. I think like Scarfini plus Scarf Feraligatr. I see the vision, but I don't know. I wouldn't personally do that. But yeah. Kyurem leads into Kartana. Gonna be forced out of there into Steelix. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Harris burns the Chople super early. Hidden Power into Akaberry. So SD. That does a lot of damage. Looks like a roll there, but he gets the roll. Salazzle into Revenge Kill the Kartana. Pivots into the Feeny very well, and it is Scarf. So Pasho Berry, a lot of resist berries coming out early game, and a critical hit. I'm pretty sure that mattered. So unlucky there. Is ipro playing Inebriated? That's a crazy word, Inebriated. Huh. So let's see. The Steelix, which I said weakening Steelix is a pretty valid game plan. It's dead already, you know? Salazzle's weakened. Feeny's dead. Kartana's weakened. Very interesting game state here. So you get your Zeraora turn in with a Salazzle not revealing Scarf. And now like an electric move is really free here. You can just go for it. It is special. So probably going to be that Z Focus Blast set that I was saying. Kyurem comes in. I'm not sure if you could just rip the Z here. Maybe it's not Z Focus Blast. Or maybe you're thinking this is Chople Berry and you don't want to take that HP trade. I don't know. At any rate, Pidgeot comes in on Earth Power. Kind of a epic play there. Hurricane, so it's actually Assault Vest Kyurem and goes for Earth Power again, predicting like a U-turn. U-turn on predicting the Arrow. So Harris is thinking like a few turns like deep into this. Or Scarf? What are you saying, or Scarf? Like Scarf Zeraora? Is Feraligatr good in SV2 or just older gens? I think the power level being a little bit lower in places like Oras really makes Feraligatr a little bit more scary there. That being said, I've seen it in SV. It's like alright. Definitely not a bad Pokemon. the KB, but that's before we saw cane damage. I think if you were Scarf KB, you probably just stay in on the cart turn 1, no? Like, surely you have something to kill the cart. How is this true? I've never drafted Quaquaval. What are we talking about here? Why is Quaquaval mentioned? What? Alright. The title. Oh, I see. I get it. I get it. Liv gets it as well. Shout out. Actually, I'm not too sure. Is this Liv or is this Olivia? You know, there's like 3 Olivias in drafts. Which one are you? You know what I mean? Quack is the best water. Sincerely, I doubt that. Because Greninja's right there. You know what I mean? I know a lot of people have not drafted Greninja, and that's a mistake. Favorite water is Palafin. I don't know, I'm kind of waffling now. What am I doing? We have a game to review. So Earth Powers again predicting the switch, but now Undead my son. He's so funny. Alright, Ice Beam does come out. Pidgeot Eevee to live that. Shout out to Eevees. Hurricanes again. Now Kyurem Black is weakened. This is really good for the Zeraora, which is going to come right back in Thunderbolt. It doesn't kill. So someone forgot to Eevee, or not Eevee, Calc. Someone forgot to Calc. Chat interaction is extra watch time. Don't worry about it. Yeah, be sure to like the stream, subscribe, etc. We're trying to get to 3,000 watch hours, which is when I unlock memberships, and then I can start charging money, you know what I mean? And then I can be rich. I can quit my job and play Draft League full time. That's the ultimate goal, right? Are Eevees like super broken? Yeah, I think so. So anyways, Kyurem gets off the massive goop nut on this Zeraora, weakens it for no reason. But now Kartana is in, just going to be able to Leaf Blade, going to pick up a KO. Aerodactyl comes in. We know this is not Scarf Kartana, so Feraligatr is going to be the switch into Aerodactyl. Firefang does a crisp 9%. Shout out. And we're going to see a Toxic come out into the Blastoise, so not going to be a setup set, just going to be like physically defensive, aiming to check the Aerodactyl, it seems. And then Toxic the Blastoise. Very nice. Zong is able to come in on this now. Seismic Toss for 29, but it's leftovers, which is going to go a long way this game. Are we going to see Rocks Up? We are going to see Rocks Up because, you know, this is something that's nice. If you have leftovers and stuff like that, then rocking on a spinner is always good for you, right? Because if they spin, you're gaining leftovers, and it's like a free turn of lefties, you know what I mean? If they don't spin, you have Rocks Up. It's a win-win. Can we ban Eevees? They make the game unbalanced. I think we should go back to GSC. Just give everyone max EVs. Then everyone can be like Zarude. Such a good mon, can do anything really. Yep, shout out. I liked Gator and BBR Scramble as a bulky pivot actually. Yeah, definitely. But like, so you like kind of use it as a Blastoise without spin, huh? Guy's bulkier than Blastoise? On the physical side, yeah. Special side, no. But yeah, it's a very bulky guy. Anyway, Zong is able to like kind of stall out this Blastoise. Goes into Kartana. Covers the Seismic Toss, I guess. So now you get another KO with Leaf Blade, it seems. So yeah, well played there. I'm going to see Aerodactyl come in. But Feraligatr is still at 91. You can just switch to it as a Pursuit comes out. So well played by Harris. Gets rid of the Kartana. And that kind of opens up the Mew a little bit. Like, the right Mew set totally could win this endgame. So we're going to have to see. It's not over yet. Stonish does 34. That's nothing. And Surf is doing 54%. So 2-hit KO. Good enough for Jazz. But now I think this Feraligatr is a little bit too healthy. This Mew has to be Taunt to have a chance. Otherwise it's just going to get Toxic. It's actually Z Gigavolt Havoc, which is also going to do the job. So shout out to that. But Zong, I think if you don't have Taunt, this is just going to get Toxic, yeah. Yep, there we go. So Toxic to Mew. This is a close one. Rock Polish is up, but Gyro Balls is way too much damage. I don't think you could do that. I think you were more likely to just hope it's Z Focus Blast here instead of Z Electric. I think he was scared of Z Electric, but I don't think you can really I don't think that's a play you can do. Yeah, because now ipro gets the opportunity to just pivot out, covers all the things, and just wins the game. So yeah, maybe like a misjudgment by the Mew there, but I kind of see the vision. But yeah, if you take like one step back and you consider the whole matchup, it's not going to be Z Electric. So I swear I did not see a Palafin in that tournament at all, but maybe I just didn't draw one. Yeah, for sure. Gator would be a good Palafin check. Wouldn't cover Boom Burst, but in my opinion, Boom Burst is what makes Palafin broken. If you can really use those Boom Burst sets, that's when it gets really scary. At least from a like prep perspective. Anyways, we talk about the GOAT Bronzong sweeping this endgame. Wow, Bronzong is the GOAT. He swept this endgame. Not very good at drawing personally. Yeah, same. If you scroll really far back in my channel, you can see some hand-drawn thumbnails in like Microsoft Paint. I was on that train for a little bit. Very epic. As long as fine in older gens, yeah. I think it's like way too passive in SV when it lost Toxic and stuff like that. But in old gens, you know, it's able to actually fight back a little bit. As long as the greatest mod of all time, some big words there. I don't know if I fully agree with you there. But anyways, let's move on to the next game against Hacker. So Hacker, another good player. Hand-drawn thumbnails, but he used a mouse. Lying? I might be lying, but think about it. What is moving the mouse? Just think. What is moving the mouse? Ah, I got him. My hand. Oh my god. Anyways, this is a really good Kartana matchup. So shout out to Kartana. Just going to be a Leaf Blade, Sacred Sword. That's all you need. So the other two slots could be like SD, Synthesis maybe, something like that. You could have a Smart Strike just to cover for like a boosting Comfy. You don't want to lose to that thing. They should bring back Steelix, but keep Toxic in its move pool. I love that guy. I am also a Steelix enjoyer. What is the greatest mon of all time then? That's going to be Zapdos. It's either Zapdos or Lando T. I think those are like the only two options realistically. But anyways, so Kartana looks really amazing here. I'm not sure how Hacker's really supposed to deal with it, honestly. Zap, you'd say? Yeah, Zap is just like the most consistent mon ever, right? That guy's a burger flipper in SV. Cap. Anyways, Tapu Fini here, also amazing. This is looking like a really good ipro matchup. Like, I don't know what Hacker's really supposed to do. Like, the first two mons already is just like so incredible. Alright, Bronzong, okay. Able to like check some stuff. You know, Bronzong into Garchomp is always nice to have. Just has to worry about Crunch. Maybe like a Pursuit Trap from Arrow, but it's really hard to Pursuit Trap when you can just get Gyro Balled. So, hard to make that play. Zong into Comfy as well. It's not something you want to see as the Comfy user. Let's see. Feraligatr, the only water resist is Rotom Wash, which of course could get toxic by the Bronzong, could be pressured by the Nidoking. We don't know what sets Hacker's going to decide to go. It could be Spadef Rotom for the Nidoking, or it could be like AV Scrafty, something like that. Anyways. Yeah, probably just going to be like a DD set, if I had to guess. DD looks pretty cool. Or you could be that same bulky set as the Arrow switch in. Maybe bulky's good because the Garchomp is there as well. So you kind of cover the two biggest threats. And then Scrafty as well is like a little bit annoying. There's like 3 switches to all of Hacker's mons. Yeah, this team is just like well built, I think. Anyways, Zeraora, what are we looking at here? Not too sure. It's really open-ended. You could be like any Zero set here. Then Nidoking, I really do expect like a Shukaberry here. I think it makes way too much sense to not bring. So yeah. And Hacker has this little badge here. Top 100 on the Gen 9 LC ladder. AKA, he plays Gen 9 LC on the ladder. So shout out to that. Anyways, let's look right into the game. Garchomp leads off into Feeny. So already ipro on the advantage. Calm Minds, presses the gas pedal down, This is something about ipro that you notice. When he's winning, he always wins harder, you know what I mean? He makes the play to, like, really accentuate any advantage he gets. He takes advantage of all the situations. So here, you notice the Garchomp switching out. He's not going to just Moonblast here. He's going to Calm Mind up. Calm Mind again, potentially? No, just going to Moonblast into Rotom, which reveals to be a fast Light Screen. So, kind of diffuses the situation there. Comfy going to be able to trade CMs here. But I don't know if Comfy really wants to take this trade. I feel like Feeny comes out on top, no? Moonblast again for 22%. So Moonblast again. No, this is offensive Comfy. But Weakness Policy is going to do a lot of damage. Ooh, the Calm Mind is crazy. Oh, a crit. So that's unlucky. So Comfy does come out on top because it's like offensive Life Orb. If it was like just a normal, like bulkier Comfy set, it absolutely would lose to the Feeny 1v1, I think. Anyways, Zong comes in, and Comfy has to switch out there, go into Heatran. Flame Charge comes out. It looks to be an Earthquake there. So is this heat proof? If we're willing to stay in, yeah, it is heat proof. So you don't really expect that into the Garchomp, but that like even more screams like it's gonna be defensive Feraligatr, right? If Bronzong's not the Garchomp check, something has to be. I guess maybe you could say it's Feeny, but Feeny is already dead. Alright, Scrafty comes in, takes as a DD opportunity. Nidoking comes in, goes for a Sludge Wave, is able to 2-hit KO very importantly, but knockoff at +2 is going to knock out the Assault Vest Nidoking. So that's like probably going to be a Poison Jab then. Maybe like double Poison move because AV only really makes sense into the Comfy, right? So you'd want to cover Calm Mind Comfy, but I guess if he had that he would have gone to it earlier, right? Because this Feeny was looking so good. I don't know why we sacked it. So it had to be like not Poison Jab then. We have seen Heat Proof for a while, successfully bluffing Levitate, but it really didn't work here. I mean, it kind of worked, right? You're able to trade with the Heatran. If this Scrafty is fast, it kind of just wins now. Let's see, +2 Scrafty versus whatever Scarfer, right? So you hit 472, right? 472. I mean, Scarf Kartana or bust, right? Kartana comes in. It is Scarf. Yeah, we're fine. Gets the +1. There's no Leaf Blade resist. So just going to stay in. Take your chip versus Garchomp. This opens up the Zeraora quite heavily. Able to take an Earthquake. Not even going for like a Flamethrower. But Ruskin Rocky Helmet. Were we in range of Ruskin Rocky Helmet here? Let's see. Oh, it looks like it's like super close. You can't really tell with the showdown rounding. Hey. Hey, Berna. How's it going? So Feraligatr gonna come in as its Endure. So he switches out on the Endure. That's like really good for ipro. Why did Cart switch? Ruskin Rocky Helmet. It could have killed. We don't know. Because of showdown rounding. It's very close though. And he definitely wants the Scarfer into Arrow. And then you want the Leaf Blade into Rotom. So I totally understand keeping it. Now Toxic is going to come out as Earthquake does 26. Shout out. But now a Scald comes out and the Chomp is going to go down. So now Leaf Blade has one less check. Calm Mind Comfy, but we saw Toxic. It's Roar. So maybe this Comfy was Heal Bell last. I'm not too sure. Willing to set up on the Toxic. But here Toxic comes out into Rotom. And yeah, so Bronzong is going to come in on Reflect. Do you have to be like Special Zeraora here? No, it's not special, so it's bulk up. Hydro Pump into 0. This is a really tight endgame. Bulks up again as a pump misses. I think he had to go for that, no? I think he did. Arrow comes in. Earthquakes. Yeah, you needed that pump dodge. Yeah, I think you needed that really bad. Because now the arrow's dead. And, yeah. Because with Reflect up, right? Kartana isn't able to one-shot the arrow. And Feraligatr can 1v1 the arrow, but at a cost of HP. And then Comfy in the endgame looks like it would have potentially swept. But it's not the case, you know. Had to hit 3 Hydro Pumps in a row. Not able to do it. Alright, was it 3? Was it just 2? I don't remember. Maybe it was just 2. Anyways. Gets the Toxic on Comfy. Does ipro lose this? He does lose this. So I guess he went for the pump miss, got it, and it wasn't enough. Here I was just thinking he had plot armor, but no. Comfy was able to take out this endgame. Very nice. It's a good play by Hacker. I think overall, across the whole game, I think ipro played a little bit better, but this Comfy was just able to do it in the endgame. Is Comfy the most broken Pokemon in history? You're gonna have to ask Money Guy about that. I hear he has really good Comfy opinions. Anyways, I think this was week 7, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so this was week 7. This is when the Banshees got blown out by a nightclub. It was like 6-1. Very epic. I feel like Comfy is kind of good. I don't know if Fast Encore and Priority feels nice. Yeah, I think it's good in like endgame situations here, where everything's weakened, right? But yeah, you do kind of need like max EVs in Life Orb or something, like a boosting item for it to actually do damage, which is the main criticism of it. I'm not Money Guy, but me thinks it's alright, I guess. Let me see if I can find the Comfy clip real quick. Would it be in GSA if I search? Here it is. Alright. We're going to play this real quick.
That walk against blue, Comfy sucks balls. Is what I'm typing
really
in my chat.
You heard it from the you heard it from the goat himself. Comfy sucks balls. Alright, anyways. Yeah, shout out. Triage is just a crazy broken ability. It's pretty good, yeah. Pretty good ability. Anyways, this looks like a rematch, right? We saw this before, Odin with this team. Where was it? Yeah, so Odin brought this, but ipro switched up the team he's bringing for semifinals. So it's not a mirror matchup, but we do have Odin for round 2. Triage on any other Pokemon is broken. Yeah, like Loki. Triage annihilate my beloved. Wait, where's the water type? I mean, you don't really need a water type, right? Because, what was this draft? There's a Rotom Wash. Do you need a Rotom Wash here? Kind of just gets Roserated. Can't break through throw. Doesn't really check any of these guys. Why would you bring Rotom Wash here? Oh no, water in the water type stream. Oh yeah, there's no water on either side, huh? That's funny. What was the water on this team? There is no water. Shout out. Breaking the traditions of the bulky water. Anyways. So this matchup, at first glance it looks really good for Odin, not gonna lie. Not sure what ipro is really supposed to do about Nidoqueen plus Shaman. Seemed like such a good like little defensive core. That being said, there's not a whole lot of offense around it outside of the Zygarde X that you're really too worried about. So maybe it's like one of those matchups where everything's kind of a wet noodle. for like at least the first 20 turns. And then by the time something's chipped, then you can start breaking through. I kind of see that. Yeah, maybe ipro has to get up hazards and then his stuff can start breaking through, but yeah, I think Nidoqueen is like really excellent here. Shaman for the Zygarde. Probably forces like a DDZ outrage kind of thing, which you could scout for. You could protect on your Shaman, whatnot. Yeah, we're just gonna have to see how ipro managed to break through this, because it doesn't look like the most easy thing in the world. Let's see. Maybe like hazards plus circle throw could be potential, but the Drifblim is there. Yeah, looks like there's a lot of answers for everything in this matchup. Like even Zardex is not that great here. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's good, but it's not the greatest Pokemon ever. Alright, let's just get into the game. I want to find out. Roserade lead into Cobalion. We're going to see a Stun Spore miss. SD up as a spike goes up. And this Roserade is going to be Sash. And trade an HP Fire with Cobalion. So hazards go up. A little bit of progress is made. Pretty cool. Tapu Koko comes in, able to revenge kill its Cobalion. Dazzling Gleam comes out. I have to imagine we see a Nidoqueen here. Yep, Nidoqueen entrance. Throw comes in. Spidef Throw, probably. Yeah, Shadow Ball does 15. Charizard comes in on Throw. Yeah, I think we're just going to kind of speed through this a little bit. Because this is the playoff games. And I actually just reviewed all the playoff games a few streams ago, which included this game. But we'll see. So Zard on Diancie. This is a great switch. Diancie in as Nidoqueen is forced out. So calls that correctly, racks up some spike damage, and gets up the rock. So like I said, getting up hazards and kind of like switching around, this is how you're going to get progress against this team, because nothing really breaks through immediately. Alright, Throw comes in once again on the Nidoqueen. Takes just 26%, and we're going to probably see like a knockoff or something like that. We see a Circle Throw. Yeah, you have 2 hazards up, may as well. Koko comes out, probably going to want to get out of there, but into what? I'm not too sure, so you probably just want to stay in, yeah. Earthquakes for 31%. Now you go into your own Koko. As Dazzling Gleam comes out, but a Light Screen comes out and wins the Speed Ties potentially. I don't know if they were Speed Ties or not. But yeah, Odin is able to kill it, but the Light Screen is up. Zygarde is going to be looking to DD here. No weakness policy because it's probably going to be Z Outrage for the Shaman. Pretty reasonable, but Reflect is up. So it's not going to be able to really break through. And it's Red Card. Shout out. Koko going to go down to hazards. But now what? Now Drifblim is going to come in. Threatens like I don't know, Calm Mind. Yeah. You don't really want to knock off because it'll get unburdened and then you're like really in trouble. So it makes sense. Switching into Diancie. Especially with Light Screen up, it's pretty easy. That Drifblim got me in the mock. Yeah. It's kind of like if you're a little bit less careful around it, then it can definitely break through. Seidl's Mega Diancie looks really good. It does, but is going to have to trade for the Drifblim here, kind of. It's going to survive, but... Oh, it's Psychic, yeah. Right, because this is probably like Shuka-Berry, right? For Zygarde plus Diancie. So he has Psychic to get around that. Odin was expecting to take it with the Shuka-Berry, kill back. But it looks like Diancie's just going to clean up. Yep. Explodes on the Zard. Shout out. And we can go into the finals game. This is against Aster J. And yeah. So from iPro's perspective, because last stream we went over this game from Aster's perspective basically, because you know, obviously he's my teammate, I know his prep and stuff, the thought processes. But here, let's go from iPro's point of view. So there's a few options for the Zygarde, right? You can be DD. I think DD plus screens was really, really strong here. So So like screens Mesprit, you can U-turn or Healing Wish into Zygarde and just DD up. It's pretty free, especially with like a Groundium. That's the set that I had in my mock, and it was like winning every mock. So shout out. This is interesting actually. Banded Zygarde actually does look insane at first glance. Yeah, so ipro actually ended up being choice banded on this Zygarde, which of course makes sense, right? It's really hard to switch into it outside of Bulu, and you're not really too scared of Bulu between Scizor and Roserade. So overall, no harm, no foul, right? Anyways, especially with the plan of like getting T-Spikes up, T-Spikes plus Banded Zygarde is just really unguardable. See this Diancie. We know this is like aggro speed creeping, very bulky Diancie. You're gonna find out later why we know that, but I'm not too sure what this set exactly is gonna be. 3 attacks is pretty mandatory, right? Dual Stab and Earth Power, just to cover all of the things that Aster has. The last slot is really flexible. It could be Rocks, it could be Rock Polish, it could be Calm Mind, it could be Sub, could be like anything really. So it's really up to him on that last wildcard slot. There's like no real way to predict it. Anyways, this Mesprit, like I said, screens is really cool here. Alternatively, what you could be, what's the rocker potentially? Explosion. Yeah, he does like Explosion on Diancie, so that could be the 4th. Mesprit though, it could be Psychic Ice Beam if you wanted to run 2 attacks. Could be HP Fire to cover the Mawile. Could be a Rocky Helmet. Specifically, Reflect is really good as my team leans physical. Yes. So Aster's team is like mostly physical outside of what? Infernape sets potentially. And then the bench had what? What was on the bench? Was it Lantern at this point? Or did we drop the Lantern? I don't remember. Anyways, as you can see, the team leans physical. So Reflect is very good. Raichu Dusclops, yeah. So Lantern was pre-mids. Yeah. So if Raichu's your biggest special threat you have to worry about, you kind of don't need Light Screen. You can just run Reflect. It's all good. Roserade, T-Spikes are like really, really good into Aster's team. Really forces a lot of defogs out of Crobat. So yeah, we actually end up revealing the set in the game. So I'll actually wait for the game to start before we talk about that. But then Coco, this is a really annoying matchup for Coco. It needs like so many coverage moves, and it can't really cover everything. You need Grass Knot for Seismitoad, you need Dazzling Gleam for Zygarde, you need Hidden Power Poison for Bulu, and you need Thunderbolt for Stab. So if you're like 4 coverage moves, Expert Belt makes a lot of sense, but even then you're not really hitting Raichu very hard, so if that were brought. Yeah, but that being said, E-Belt 4 attacks does make some sense. You can't really fit too much setup here unless you want to go like Double Dance with Weakness Policy or something like that, or like Z Fairy. Another set you could be is like Z Nature's Madness, yeah. As it ensures like big chip on something, because it's really hard to predict between the 2 grounds and the Bulu what's coming in. Anyways, Scizor, it could be like a physically defensive thing to check Bulu, but +2 Z kind of blows that back. Physically defensive does still make sense though into like things like Mawile, Zygarde, but another thing that makes sense that we saw in mocks quite a bit was Choice Band. The only thing that really stops it is the Infernape, so that's pretty cool. And Infernape is not like the greatest Pokemon of all time here. It is kind of setup fodder for Zygarde in theory. Diancie can come in on it. Coco can Thunderbolt against it and live any hit. It's all good. As well as the Scizor could just be like Aerial Ace or something. Dual Wing Beat, whatever it gets this gen. I don't think it gets Dual Wing Beat this gen. That's like a Gen 8 thing, right? But yeah, Aerial Ace, same thing. It could be SD Quick Attack. That's another set we saw in mocks that was really good. But you're going to see in the game is actually going to end up being choice banded. But yeah, let's get into the game. Bulu leads off against Mesprit. Mesprit wants to get out of there immediately. She goes into Roserade. Is faster than the Bulu, so it covers the SD, forces it out. T-Spike is going to go up, and the Crobat is kind of forced to defog here. Roserade knows this, goes for extra sensory. It's actually a 2-hit KO, and is able to stay in thanks to the Copa Berry. Gets rid of the Crobat, so next time Roserade is in, those T-Spikes are going up, and Aster's going to not enjoy that at all. So Infernape comes in, Diancie is the switch into Flamethrower. Only does 16% but gets burned. Not a big deal, but what is a big deal is this Hidden Power Steel crits and the Infernape outspeeds the Diancie. So a little bit of an over aggro creep there. And pays the price there. I think the crit mattered for sure, but yeah, unlucky plus bad spread. What can you do? Alright, Coco comes in on the Infernape, but now Seismitoad's going to come in. My bad. U-turns on the Seismitoad for 18. Roserade comes in, but it's Scarf Seismitoad. Now this is the turn that won the game in my opinion. Because if those T-Spikes go up, this is so hard for Aster. But if you're able to lure in the Roserade with Scarf Seismitoad, now all of a sudden, you're back in the game. Alright, so Scizor comes in. We know it's locked into Ice Punch, so it can just U-turn if it's banded, which it is. 19% is choice banded Scizor damage, so believe it or not. Coco once again comes in. Now this time Bulu's the switch in. Trying to switch it up as Dazzling Gleam comes out, and Hidden Power Poison is going to be able to knock out the Bulu. But now we know the full set, right? T-Bolt, Dazzling, Hidden Power Poison, and U-turn. So we know it doesn't have Grass Knot, either that or it doesn't have T-Bolt, which is even worse. So Zygarde is going to come in, low-key bluffing the weakness policy here. I don't think ipro can risk the weakness policy here, because if it DDs on weakness policy, he just loses, right? So Mesprit comes in as a Dragon Tail is clicked. I think this was inaccuracy from Aster. I think Arrows is just always better, right? But anyways, Scizor gets forced in, but you can low-key set up on Banded Scizor, which is what he does. Only 43% with a Choice Banded U-turn, which is crazy. Arrows into the Mesprit, just going to trade some HP here. Psychic is going to knock this thing into Iapapa range. And yeah. Here, one more turn of Reflect, so ups to Dragon Dance up. Reflect goes down, goes for the Outrage. This is because he's in timer trouble and he didn't see the screen go out. He kind of just assumed Light Clay and went from there. But unfortunately that means Coco is able to revenge this Zygarde, which otherwise it looked like it would have swept or at least gotten another KO, right? Zygarde comes in, forced the Outrage lock, and then Coco comes in. That would have been a lot better. However, not how it ended up going. Coco able to Dazzling Gleam here. But now Seismitoad comes in, there's no more ground resist, so Earthquake is free. ipro sacks it to get a free Zygarde turn. Probably a mistake, honestly. You probably should have just gone hard Zygarde, but I understand if Ice Punch happens, you immediately lose, but I feel like you needed that Coco. Anyways, potentially able to force a KO, but it's Shuka Berry, physically defensive Infernape, so able to take in Arrows and get off a Wisp. Now this is massive, because what this allows Aster to do, first off, go into Seismitoad, get some chip. Scizor comes in on Earthquake. Almost a 2-hit KO, but not quite. So a lot of damage here. Now Scizor is in range of Mawile, and he hits. Zygarde comes back in. But this Seismitoad is just going to get some Earthquake chip, die to Arrows. But now Mawile with Intimidate and a lot of physical defense EVs is able to take the combination of burned -1 Arrows plus Choice Band Scizor hit. So that's the GOAT right here. And Scizor comes in. If he bullet punches, it doesn't kill, and he'll die, so Mawile correctly does not Sucker Punch here. Gets flinched by Iron Head, but now is locked in. Sucker is free. And this was actually the game that clinched the finals for Infernal Armory. So, shout out to Aster. Is Aster J the best player in the entire world? I mean, low-key, right? Low-key. So, really well played by both sides. in general. I think if you were able to keep the Coco here, this endgame looks a whole lot differently. Wow, look at the ego on this guy. ipro and I are definitely the two best Sun and Moon players. Wow. Ego up. Anyways, this turn, I really think Zygarde had to come in here. But it didn't, and this endgame went differently, so yeah. Like, imagine you had a Coco here. Like, you would have just won. But it's all good. Sammy C has something to say. True. Any truers in the chat? Anyways, that's going to be all for iPro's games. Let's go ahead and get a poll going for the next stream topic. How do I do that? Open in web browser. Oh, that's my chat. You don't need to see that. Start poll. What are the options here? Next stream topic. We can look at the Meowscarada. You did it 2 days ago. Come on. Democracy. Yeah, I know how to do it, man. I could do it. So, this would be Infernal Armory, SV2. The myth of honestly, I don't know how I would do the stream for like the poison myth, because the whole idea is that they're always benched. So how do I really how do I show that in a stream? I'm not too sure. Let's see. I can look at my list of ideas from earlier. So I could review Belly Bolts. We could do Sword and Shield Garchomp, which underperformed. You show the games they did come to and Glow King games because it actually did really well. Could do that. The Landorus video. We could do the Landorus video. The idea behind that video is the Landorus mirror is terrible. In SV especially. And it makes me very sad. So I'll put that in the poll. Landorus mirror equals no kids. Shout out. We could also do an Abomasnow review. I think that's a really cool one. Because Abomasnow went really crazy in the games despite a losing record. It looked really, really great. So I'll say Abomasnow Giga Goob. Let's do just these 3 options. Start the poll. There we go. Alright. I think we're never going to get to SV2 because these other ideas are just too fire. Did really well and played games thrice as long as the average SV game. I almost know what you mean by that, which is epic. You voted ipro last stream, so I can be selfish and vote SV2. And whatever helps you sleep at night, you know what I mean? Also, don't forget to like the stream. Shout out. It's in the description. If you read that, you'll see it tells you you have to like the stream. So you're contractually obligated. Yeah. Do we still like if we didn't like it? What do you mean? Looks like it's close between Landorus and Abomasnow. Guess we're just doing a Lando mirror stream. There's not too many games to go over, so we might be able to do both. Yeah, it depends on how much time I have. It is very funny though, the Lando mirror. Because there's like 3 or 4 replays, I think, where it's a Lando mirror. And they're all miserable. Alright, well, should I leave the poll up for a few more minutes? It was only up for 2 minutes. It seems like not a lot of time. 3 watchers just not voting. Yeah, I hate them. Not really, but like low-key. My favorite Lando check, 80 Lando and Helmet Lando. Yeah. I think we did see Snow plus Weather Ball on one of the Landos. That was pretty cool. Couldn't be me. Shout out. I'm sure I saw it in Prison Lando. You probably did. For sure. It would make sense, right? Because Lando gets like 2 moves. Earthquake and U-turn. Yeah, let's just call the poll there. We're going to do Landorus. And if we have time, we'll go on to the Abomasnow Gigagoob. How to make Landomir even more unbearable, right? It's so sad. Anyways, I think we should be able to do both, but that presents a very big challenge for the thumbnail and title, you know what I mean? Abomasnow means you watch my game? No, quick, change your vote. Change it halfway through the stream. Yeah, we could do that. But then it'll be wrong for like the VOD, right? But whatever. I could just do it in the intro where like, hello and welcome. We're starting with the Landorus mirror review, and then we're gonna do Abomasnow later. Yeah, that would be probably smart. All right, let's go ahead and end the poll. And that's gonna be what we're doing next time. Landorus mirror equals no kids, and Abomasnow Gigagoob. Very epic. Alright, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Probably tomorrow, like mid in the day, or it'll be Saturday, like throughout the whole day. I'm free on Saturday. Just depends. Alright, see ya.